So, episode 1 of Star Trek The Next Generation is called Encounter at Farpoint. So, Captain Picard, it's his first time on the Enterprise. He's becoming the captain of the Enterprise, and he goes on, and they love their sets, so they take really long pans of all the sets. This is a brand new show, guys. We're very excited. And then he's like, okay, we're done with that. Let's go to Farpoint Station because we have a mission there. But when they're about to go, there's like this thing that happens where they're blocked by this force field, which kind of looks like giant like chain link fence in space. And they're like, what is this? And he's like, it's all around us. What are we going to do? And randomly, Q appears on the bridge. And he's dressed in like some kind of a medieval outfit. And Q is like, go back from whence thou came, because he's talking like Shakespearean because he's wearing that outfit. And Picard is like, who are you? Because he's never met before because this is the first episode. And he's like, I'm Q! I'm like magic. And then he randomly turns into, like, he changes costumes with, like, a snap of his fingers. Q does, not Captain Picard, obviously. And he's wearing an army outfit now, like, World War II army guy. And he starts talking like a army guy. And Picard's like, yeah, we kind of sucked in the olden days. But now we're so enlightened. And even in those days, we were, like, learning stuff. And Q is like, oh yeah? Because just shortly afterward, and he changes his costume again, and he's dressed like, I don't know, he's wearing like a couch, sort of, with like a string to like sniff drugs. And he's like, this is when you used to control your army with drugs. And Picard's like, oh wow. Yeah, that's a bad time. Anyway, they go poof using Q magic to like a court from like the 22nd century or something like that, or like around there, our future, their past. And there's all kinds of like midgets and things cheering because they're having a court. There's Data and Tasha Yar for sure, and Picard, Counselor Troy, I think, I don't remember who's there. Data and Picard and Yar for sure. And then they're like, whoa, this is weird. And Q comes out, he's riding on a forklift. You can't see the forklift, it looks like he's floating on a platform, and he's wearing this ridiculous judge outfit. It's red with a big black hat, and he's got like, he's made up with lipstick and stuff, and he says, I accuse you of being a dangerous, savage child race. And Picard's like, psh, no. And then Tasha Yar is like, hey, wait a minute. I used to live on a terrible colony with, like, rapists. She loves mentioning the rapists. I don't know if she mentioned it right then, but she just loves it. There were rape gangs. It was awful. And it was people like these that saved me. And she's, like, so passionate that Q is like, ugh. And he like, whoosh, and freezes her. She's, like, frozen. And, I forgot that before he had frozen a random ensign. And they're like, and Picard's like, Data, is she okay? And he's like, I don't know. We had their sickbay to thaw out that random ensign. Who knows if we can help Tasha Yar? And Picard's like, didn't you say that we wouldn't be harming the prisoners here? And he's like, no, I never said that, which he totally did. I just forgot to mention it. And then it's okay because Data has a recording of it, and he just says it in Q's voice. He's like, yeah, it's going to be fair trial. We're not going to freeze anybody. And so Q's like, okay. And he goes, poof, she's unfrozen. Everybody's okay. Yay. he has the guards aim their guns at everybody's heads. And he's like, guards, you gotta shoot everybody. If, definitely Troy, because she's very upset. She's emotional about this. She's got a gun pointed at her head. Everybody's got guns pointed at her head. And then he's like, Q's like, you have to answer guilty or I'm going to shoot everybody. So, this is the charge. The charge is you're a dangerous, savage child race and you should go home. And he's like, and Picard's like, guilty. And then he's like, provisionally. And then Q's like, okay, what's the provision? He's like, well, we used to be a child race and now we're awesome. So what I think you should do is test to see how awesome we are. And Q's like, I like this idea. I like it. You know what? You don't even need your whole mission to be tested. This new mission, the one at Farpoint, this is going to be a really, really good mission for you to be tested. This sounds long, but it's a two-parter, so we have lots of time. We got nothing but time to test the human race and prove how truly awesome it is. So they get poofed back to the Enterprise, and everyone there is like, you never left. I don't know, magic. I don't remember anything. And O'Brien is like, because he's driving the ship, shout out to DS9 fans, O'Brien is driving the ship and he's like, so, Captain Picard, what do you think of a counter at Farpoint? I mean, Farpoint Station sounds boring. And Picard's like, we've heard it might be interesting. And then, I think that's the end of part 1. Part 2, we separate the saucer. Or maybe he already separated the saucer. He definitely decides to separate the ship into 2 pieces just to show that he can do it, not for any real reason. And they go to Farpoint Station, and there they are at Farpoint Station. Riker is there, and he's chatting with this scraggly guy who's the leader of this Farpoint Station, and his name is Groppler Zorn, and he's got a bowl of fruit, and he's like, how's it going? And Riker's like, it would be great if you had apples, but this bowl of fruit doesn't have apples, so psh. And then suddenly, poof, there's a magic bowl of apples, and he's like, what? And then Riker leaves with his apple, and Groppler Zorn is like, stop doing that, you're gonna arouse suspicion. Yeah. Meanwhile, in the shopping mall that is part of Farpoint Station, there's Commander Riker, no, not Commander Riker, Dr. Crusher, and her son Wesley Crusher, who is wearing a sweater, and they're going shopping, and they're going shopping to this sketchy-looking guy who is selling bolts of fabric, because Dr. Crusher does a lot of sewing apparently, and she's like, this gold fabric, this fabric it wasn't gold, it was fuchsia, and it's like, this was filmed in the 80s. People are not going to realize it was filmed in the 80s unless there's lots of gold. If this fabric was gold, it would be perfect. And then she turns away for a second and she looks back and poof, the fabric is now gold and fuchsia. And she's like, I'm going to buy that whole bolt of fabric and one day sew something. I don't know. Send it to the Enterprise. Charge to Dr. Crusher. Spoiler alert, I don't get paid. I'm getting it for free. Then Riker is like, hey, remember when I told you that magic stuff was happening around here? And Dr. Crusher was like, yeah, and I didn't believe you. Sorry about that. Then Geordi comes out of nowhere and he says, hey, guess what? The Enterprise is here, but the saucer section is not here. And Riker's like, that's weird. So they go to the Enterprise, and there they are in the Enterprise, in the drive section, which is a different bridge, and they're like, what happened? And Captain Picard says, here, watch the video clips from last episode. He watches them, and he's like, what? That's so weird. There was a magic being named Q. Recap. And then he's like, okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to connect the two halves of the ship together, but you're not going to use any automation. And Riker's like, what? That's not how you do it. And Data gives the look like, what? Oh, I forgot a part. So there's this part where instead of coming right to visit Captain Picard, Riker's like, I know, I'm going to go visit the holodeck, because that's clearly the most important part of the whole ship. And he goes to the holodeck, and Data is there, and he's trying to whistle a tune, and he can't whistle because he's an android. And then Wesley Crusher comes in, and he's like, isn't this awesome? What a great holodeck! And then he falls in the water, and Data shows off his strength by lifting him out. Not important to the plot at all. I just thought I'd throw that in there. Anyway, so we're gonna go connect the two halves of the ship, and Riker does it flawlessly, because all he really does is tell other people what to do. So I don't know if Data's doing it, then isn't that using automation? I don't know. Anyway, so they have Troy, and she's very upset, because when they beam down to the planet, she starts to cry, because she's like, oh, I'm feeling sorrow and loneliness and terrible things. And they're like, whatever. There's caves underneath Farpoint Station, so they're gonna go explore down there. And they're going down there, and they have Geordi and Riker and Troy going down in the caves underneath the shopping mall, basically. And Geordi's like, I've never seen any of these materials before, even though I have like magic eyes and can see infrared and all that. And Troy is like, I can feel all these strong emotions. They're very sad. And she's just like so overwhelmed by these very strong emotions that he's like, you should go back to the ship. And he's like, no, I'm good. I'm feeling really close to something. He's like, and Riker's like, no one wants to see that. Come on. Because they used to date. They used to be in love. So he's like, he's feeling bad that his ex is like, so then like another ship comes, it looks like an old school 1950s UFO, but slightly more 80s, because it's got like pink lights on it. And it comes in and starts shooting at the city, like all the little cabins around the shopping mall. And Groppler Zorn is like hiding under a desk. He's like, ah! And he's like, hey, remember how we wanted to join the Federation? You think you could do us a solid and prevent this ship from destroying us? Thanks. And they're like, yeah, it's kind of against the rules, but you're going to be part of the Federation soon anyway, so we'll help you out. And Q is there. You're savage, so you don't even obey your own rules. This is ridiculous. So then, when Troy's back on the ship, they're like, man, what should we do now? And Q is like, why don't you just go onto the ship with an away team? And he's like, and Picard's like, we don't usually just beam onto other people's ships. And Q was like, come on. So they go onto the other ship, and they're like, looking around, And Troy is like, oh my god, I'm so angry, grr. And she's like really melodramatic about it. He's like, Riker is like, is this the same as down on the planet? And he's like, no, this is the ship itself is angry, And it's like, this is so weird. And then, Picard's like, how about we go down to the planet and kidnap Groppler Zorn and ask him what's up. So they go to kidnap Groppler Zorn, but instead of getting kidnapped, Groppler Zorn just beams randomly over to the other ship, not like he was kidnapped by the aliens, and they're like, oh, what's going on? But Picard's got it all figured out, and he's like, Q, guess what? I got it all figured out. And everyone's like, Picard, what is it? And everyone's gathered around. What is happening? So Groppler Zorn, everyone is trapped over on the other ship, gets beamed over to the Enterprise, and the ship is like actually not a ship at all. It is a giant jellyfish. And Picard's like, if I'm right, there's actually no Farpoint station, no shopping mall. There is just this weird alien who can change shape. And he's like, we fed it. It was injured. We helped it. We were awesome. He's like, you exploited it. Not cool. So Picard sends like a beam of light from the Enterprise down to Farpoint Station to feed it. And then the shopping mall turns into a giant jellyfish. And they both like float up into the sky. The two jellyfish, the one that was the ship and the one that was the shopping mall, and they're in love. They make little tentacle hold hands. Oh, it's so beautiful. Counselor Troy is like, I'm so happy and grateful and so much gratitude I'm feeling from the jellyfish. This is so wonderful. And Q's like, okay. You got a free pass this time. And they're like, yeah, that was a pretty interesting episode. I hope that, and someone else is like, oh, I hope our episodes aren't that crazy every time. And Picard's like, no, don't worry. Our next mission's probably going to be much more interesting. And that is the end of Encounter of Farpoint. Bye.